Hey everyone, today we're going to be going over things to do for bunions and how to get rid of them. So let's get started with exercises, lifestyle tips, and what to wear. Let's get to the toes. By taking off our shoes and getting ourselves barefoot. Grabbing our foot, get rid of that nasties. And we're just going to work on pushing our big toe out and try to push back into the finger. So just by doing repetitions of this, of 10-second holds, and coming back out and then back in. So you might not have as spaced toes as me, you might have a bit more of a rigid toe box. You can really wedge your index there and try to fight the fact that your index is there and you're pushing in. You'll feel it somewhere in the middle between the second toe and the big toe, and you might feel it under the arch as well. From here, let's just practice simply getting the other 4 toes up and down. Doing 20 reps here. And you should be feeling it in terms of the extensors here, but also the fact that you're forcefully putting the big toe down. You'll feel the flexor of the big toe underneath the arch here, maybe all the way to the ball of the heel. And you can now switch, and the switch will just have us lift the big toe, keep the other toes down. There's always an option to remove your hand to simply isolate the big toe. And again, we're going to feel that now at the extensor and perhaps under the outside part of the arch as you're pushing those 4 toes down. And then we're going to come back to dragging our toe out, trying to create that space and push the big toe down, and you can spread your other 4 toes. So you can of course pull them or just lift them up if you have the strength for that. And don't forget, it's outside. It should be in line with at least the outer border or the inner border, of your foot, if not a bit wider, and then spreading the other 4 toes. You'll feel it again at the arch of the foot and at the extensors of the fingers or the toes. All right, so as we do this, we're going to start building some tension here. We're just going to work on stretching the calf next. So let's get to pushing into our big toe, heel elevation, and letting the knee bend. And if you can press into with your hands a wall or simply dig into a chair, and you're going to feel that stretch at the lower extremity of your calf, right around here. And again, really plant that big toe down, and you can spread and rotate your foot this way so that there's again a space between the second toe and the big toe. Feeling that nice stretch under the foot perhaps, and in the Achilles or above the Achilles. Let's go for another minute. Again, big push forwards into a wall if you want to facilitate this isolation. And press into the big toe, make sure your knee is bent, and you're keeping that knee somewhere past your toes, so really forwards. And again, we have sometimes irritations somewhere around the foot as the calf and the Achilles, including the soleus, have a lot of tension due to walking or simply standing and not necessarily loosening up. So this is why we're addressing this, so we can let a little less load happen in the foot and more come back to the calf as a non-rigid muscle, but a actual shock absorbing muscle. Now we can relax here. All right, let's come back to the same foot and work now on spreading our toes. So we're gonna work on spreading the toes, lifting them up, and we're gonna just work on putting one side down and then the big toe down. So again, lifting everything up, we're gonna try to put the small toe, middle toe, and big toe down. So it's going one direction, and then we'll switch directions. Might be a bit more difficult on one way than the other. It's okay if you don't get this perfect, as long as the toes are lifting and putting themselves down. That's also a good starting point if you cannot do the directional drops. Nice work. The last exercise we can focus on is with a little loop band. You can also use a elastic, hair elastic, or simply an elastic that you have hanging around at home. And we're just going to create tension, create that gap again between the big and middle toe, and we're going to work on pulling inwards. It helps to keep your hands down and simply isolate the big toe if that's possible, to do it without the hand, and work on squeezing the four toes into the ground and pulling the big toe in and out. Then that's amazing. So again, working on 20 reps here, pushing the big toe in, lifting it off a little bit, but focusing on getting the stretch before you can actually pull inwards. Then that would be the ideal situation. Again, for 20 reps here, pulling in and out. You can also incorporate your breath with every synchronization, breathing out as you create that effort. And you can switch directions now to outwards, which is probably one of the hardest exercises to do. Again, creating that pressure inwards, pulling in, narrowing the gap, and then trying to push it out. And if there's not much movement going on, again, we're going to look for tension underneath the arch. That's okay. Loosen the band a bit. And it's maybe half the amount of movement that you can actually get to. Just assist yourself with the other hand's fingers to get that outward direction. And little by little, you'll be able to access that as you practice it. Again, working on 20 reps. So overall tips that we can also incorporate in our daily practice is wearing toe spreaders. Toe spreaders are a way to simply increase the spacing between the feet in a passive manner. Wearing them for 20 minutes or so per day can really have a benefit on actually loosening or removing that stiffness in the foot. We can also make sure that we're getting enough magnesium, specifically magnesium malate or bisglycinate, which are going to be helpful for decreasing the muscle tension that we might build up over time, especially if we're someone that's going to be standing or walking a lot. And lastly is making sure that we have a toe box that is big enough to accommodate for spreading the toes in our shoes. So toe boxes are going to vary depending on your shoe manufacturer. I recommend shoes that are going to increase the ability to use your feet. So whether it's barefoot shoes, whether it's a almost minimalist running shoes such as Altras or some wider shoe company manufacturers that allow for these spreading of the toes. So try this out. I hope this helps for, again, decreasing your symptoms of irritation at the bunion, but also aesthetically speaking, removing that bunion over time. So make sure that you click on follow and check out the other videos that might be working towards your health goals, and I'll hope to see you in the next one. See you later.